The year 2017 has been an amazing year for Nintendo fans. Nintendo fans have been graced by so many amazing games, and to those who don't necessarily like Nintendo, Nintendo's cool again. Like, everyone just loves Nintendo this year. It's been such a great year, so many amazing things have happened. And with that, however, now comes a lot of expectations for the year 2018. Can Nintendo maintain that momentum? Can they continue to deliver the goods? I personally think that they might. And I'm going to go over what you should expect from Nintendo and the Switch in 2018. So one thing we should all expect from Nintendo in 2018 is the launch for Nintendo's online network. How will that work exactly? That remains to be seen, but it will come out before the end of 2018. We will see it. We will be paying $30 a month for Nintendo Online, but will it be good? I don't know. I really can't tell you guys that I think it will be good. I really don't know. I mean, there's one thing Nintendo does that does not inspire confidence is their online connectivity features. I mean, look at the debacle with Splatoon 2. Like, the whole online voice chat setup was a disaster, right? But because of that, though, because of that debacle, I don't know if you guys noticed, but shortly after the whole Splatoon 2 debacle, Nintendo delayed their Nintendo Online Network. And considering that, I have to think Nintendo's really working on it. They're taking a lot of the critiques and opinions that came out from that debacle and are taking it all to heart and trying to make this online network good. They're going to actually make it good enough for people to be willing to pay for it. And considering that, I think the Nintendo Online Network will at least be a lot better than what we saw with the Splatoon 2 voice chat debacle. How much better? I don't know, but we'll find out in the year 2018. Now, one thing I think we probably should definitely expect in 2018, no matter what, are streaming apps. I mean, we already have gotten a few, like with Nico Nico in Japan and Hulu. We're going to see Netflix, we're going to see Crunchyroll, we're going to see Amazon Prime. I think all these are all a given. It's simply a matter of time, and 2018 is more than long enough for all these apps to finally come out. In fact, I mean, if you look at what the Wii U had, I mean, the Wii U had all of that. I expect the Switch to have more than that. The Switch is a better system with way more units that are going to be out there. Developers are making way more money on the system. Of course, the streaming apps are going to come to the system. They're going to be out soon enough, so expect that in 2018. One thing I know a lot of people are sort of waiting for is Virtual Console. Virtual Console, I mean, on the Wii and the Wii was out like way earlier. It has not come out yet on the Nintendo Switch, and it is a little weird. I do see that, but there's a few things to consider here, right? Look at what happened with the NES Classic and the Super Nintendo Classic. Those systems emulated old Nintendo games better than they were ever emulated on the Virtual Console. On Virtual Console, everything just seems kind of dull by comparison. So I'm thinking that Nintendo has put a lot of time and effort into creating a new Virtual Console emulator to actually make these games look and run better on the Nintendo Switch. And in fact, if you look at what's happening in China, the Nvidia Shield will be getting games like Twilight Princess and Super Mario Galaxy in 1080p. So I think that those are actually early examples of what we will be seeing for Virtual Console on the Nintendo Switch in 2018. But since we're on the subject of Virtual Console, something has to come up. That's right, Mother 3. A Mother 3 localization we would have thought would be inevitable. It's been talked about and rumored about and brought up in interviews for a few years already, but we have yet to have actually seen the game. So is it coming? I think it is. I think it's simply being delayed for the Virtual Console on the Nintendo Switch. Now here's what's interesting to me personally, right, is that Mother 3 is an old franchise in Nintendo, and there's a developer that works for Nintendo that basically is really good at bringing back old franchises, and that's Retro Studios. They brought back Metroid, they brought back Donkey Kong Country. I mean, look at their namesake, it's Retro Studios. So you have to think that they probably are bringing back another franchise. That's what I think. I don't think they're making a new IP. I think they're bringing back another franchise. That's what they do. So I expect to see something from them in 2018 as well. Since Tropical Freeze has been over and done with for quite some time already, they have to be working on something. And I expect to see something from Retro Studios in 2018. And I expect it to be a revived franchise. Maybe it's the Mother series. Maybe it's Star Tropics. I don't know for sure. But I think it's interesting, and maybe there is some sort of tie-in with this Mother 3 localization not coming out until 2018. Maybe it is supposed to be kind of to highlight the in resurrection of the Mother franchise. That would be kind of crazy, right? But that's just my pure speculation. But regardless, I do expect to see Retro Studios and what they're working on in 2018. So something that's been a little different in the year 2017 for Nintendo fans is, well, a lot more games. A lot more games. And a lot of those games are from third parties. Nintendo fans over the years have become accustomed to not getting third-party games, but now we're getting them. And the reason being is because the Nintendo Switch is such a great system for third parties. Third-party games are selling better on the Nintendo Switch. Let's take Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, for example. That game cost more on the Nintendo Switch. It came out way later on the Nintendo Switch. There are not as many Switch units out there right now compared to the PlayStation 4. Yet despite all of these facts, Xenoverse 2, the Switch version, has outsold the PS4 version already. That's crazy if you think about it. And that's just an example of how third-party games in general are selling much better on the Nintendo Switch. So if you take that into consideration, if you take the fact that the Switch is selling very quickly and a lot of units are getting out there, and if you take the fact that the Switch is actually pretty easy to develop for, even if it is weaker than the Xbox One and the PS4, third parties want their games on this system. It's going to make them money, and if it's going to make them money, they're going to put their games on this system, and that's why we've seen so many third-party announcements this year, and that's why we're going to see even more in 2018, because now developers know the Switch is a great system that's going to be profitable for their games. So now they're going to have had enough time to understand that and switch over their development resources to the Nintendo Switch. So expect a lot more third-party game announcements in 2018. Maybe we'll see Grand Theft Auto on the Nintendo Switch. Maybe Dark Souls 3, a trilogy or something like that. Soul Calibur 6. Games like that will be coming to the Nintendo Switch. We'll probably get Call of Duty. Games of these nature, Assassin's Creed. AAA games will be announced and confirmed for the Nintendo Switch at a much greater rate than they were in 2017. So expect a lot more games in 2018. I've already talked about how there's going to be more games from third parties in 2018, but another thing we should expect is more games from Nintendo in 2018. Yeah, I understand that Nintendo pretty much blew it out of the park this year. They had Breath of the Wild, Mario Odyssey, Xenoblade 2. Like, it's just kind of crazy how many great games came out this year. Like, they didn't need to come out with as many great games this year. It's kind of crazy. Yet despite that, I actually do think there's going to be even more great Nintendo games coming out in 2018. Now let me explain why though. Because back in the Wii U era, things were bad, and if you lived through the Wii U era as a Nintendo fan, 2017 makes no sense. How could there be so many great games? There had to have been droughts, right? Well, one, you can make the argument Nintendo pulled over a lot of products from the Wii U onto the Switch to allow for a much better lineup on the Nintendo Switch. I do think that there's some truth in that, but I also think that the entire Wii U life cycle was a big transitional period for Nintendo. They got used to HD development. They got used to working with other developers. They changed around their staff. They unified their console and portable divisions in Japan so they could have a much more effective and efficient development process for their games. And Nintendo is basically focusing on one platform now for the Nintendo Switch. They're not diverting their resources between the 3DS or the Wii U this time around. What that means, all of that together, a lot more really, really kick-ass games coming out for the system. So because of that, I do believe that Nintendo will be able to maintain the momentum that they created in 2017. Will it be at as of great of a clip? No, but if you're considering the increased level of third-party support, I think it won't be that far behind. I think it'll be pretty close, actually. So now that we know that Pokemon's been announced for the Switch, Bayonetta 3 has been announced for the Switch, Metroid Prime has been announced for the Switch, Fire Emblem, Yoshi, Kirby, will all these games come out in 2018? I don't know, not for sure, and I'm going to get to each one in a moment. But I think in general we're going to be seeing a lot of new games coming out for the Switch, announced and coming out in 2018. And look at 2017, Mario Odyssey, Xenoblade 2, ARMS, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe were all announced in January, and they all came out before the end of the year. So will we see the same for 2018? Maybe. Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon were both announced at E3, but those are huge games and we saw very little of them, so it's hard to say for sure, but maybe Nintendo has changed things around and they don't want to announce games so early on. We do know we will definitely at least be seeing gameplay for Pokemon 2018. I mean, basically, if you can read between the lines, because Pokemon Company told us that they want to hype up Pokemon for Switch in 2018. Does it mean it's coming out in 2018? No, it does not. But it does mean we will absolutely see something about Pokemon in 2018, so expect that. As for Metroid Prime 4, well, I'm kind of staking my hopes on the fact that Mario Odyssey, we knew nothing about that game, but it was announced and it came out within like 9 months. So maybe the same could be said for Metroid Prime 4, but really, we don't know for sure. But I do think that since it was shown off at last year's E3, that we will at least at some point get a trailer for Metroid Prime 4 in 2018. Now, what about Bayonetta 3? Bayonetta 3 is amazing, and I'm super excited it was announced at the Game Awards, but it's not a game that's under Nintendo's own framework. Nintendo is co-publishing it with Sega, they're helping to pay for the game, but Platinum Games is separate from Nintendo, and they're making the game on their own. So what that means is that they're not following Nintendo's own development cycle, things are a little different. Could it still come out in 2018? Yeah, potentially, but I really don't know. It's up to them. But there's not, typically when they announce games, it doesn't necessarily come out in the same year. So we'll see what happens with that. Now, one game that I think we have to see at some point is Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4, that game's been in development for an extremely long time. I mean, literally, Shigeru Miyamoto, in 2015, mid-2015, there was an interview where he literally told us that the game was near completion. It was near completion midway through 2015, and we're now entering 2018. That amount of time is literally enough time to create an entirely new Pikmin game. So you have to think that Pikmin 4 is ready to go, and we'll see it in some capacity in 2018. Now, a few other games that I know for sure are coming, and that I don't think they really deserve that much discussion, is Fire Emblem, Yoshi, and Kirby. These games were announced, well, Fire Emblem was announced early last year, early, along with all the other games from Nintendo Switch, and it's coming. Like, that game is definitely going to be ready for 2018, I guarantee it. So Fire Emblem fans look forward to that. Yoshi and Kirby are smaller games, and those games were announced months ago. I expect those games to come out as well in 2018. Now, one game that I don't necessarily expect in 2018, but I'm not saying it won't come, I just don't know, I have no idea, is Smash Brothers. We don't have any tangible evidence to think that it is coming out in 2018. The only real hope we have is that it could be some sort of expanded or upgraded port for Smash on Wii U. I mean, they literally could take the Smash assets, add some of the 3DS stages and characters, add all the DLC, add a few better single-player modes. Please improve the tourney mode at some point, and just basically slap it all together in one great package and bring it onto this Nintendo Switch. They could do that. They could just call it Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo Switch. It would make perfect sense. They really could do that, and it would work out. I would buy it. I'd be excited for it. But will it work? Is that what's happening? I don't know. I really don't. There are so many games out there, but if Nintendo wants to sell their systems, that's one game they could bring out. Now, there's something else I want to talk about, just to kind of, I guess, further emphasize my point here about there being a lot of Nintendo games coming. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a great game, one of my favorite RPGs, but that game definitely is not polished. That game could have benefited from being in development for a few more months. Yet despite all of that, they still rushed it out and brought it out in December. We did not need another game from Nintendo in December, but they still did it anyways. Why would they do that? Maybe it's because they have a lot of games in the pipeline. They did not need to save Xenoblade 2 and bring it out later in 2018. There's probably a lot more games slated to come out in 2018 for Nintendo. So yeah, guys, I expect a lot of great things for Nintendo in 2018. Will it be as great as 2017? That I cannot say for sure, but I do think we're going to be seeing Virtual Console. I do think we're going to see more third-party announcements. I do think we're going to see Metroid and Pokemon at least in trailer form. I think we're going to get Fire Emblem, we're going to get Kirby, we're going to get Yoshi. There's going to be new game announcements. There are going to be streaming apps. It's going to be a good year. So don't worry, guys. 2018 is going to be a great year, and we'll see just how good it will be compared to 2017. But nevertheless, there's so many games out there. The Switch is so good. I'm excited regardless, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you guys have the same expectations I have? Are your expectations higher or lower? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I would love to hear your arguments, your thoughts, and your opinions. It'd be really cool. I would love to continue this conversation. So I'll see you all really soon, everyone. Happy holidays. Bye.